Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. As you could tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are talking about SnowiKs post-Banlist. What is it going to look like? Does it change anything? What happens? Does the consistency in particular go down, given the fact that Wanted is at 2 and SnowiKs Ash is at 2? Does that change anything? So, I decided to play this deck and kind of give it a test, and yeah, let's just see how this goes. So, first and foremost, I should probably be playing Subversion. I'm just not. I'm instead playing like the third Veiler, which it actually has come up a couple of times. Having that additional Veiler, it's been pretty nice. But yeah, realistically, I should just be playing the Subversion. But that's fine. Moving on. 2 Ash, 2 Wanted. You got to take out 2 cards. What are we changing those cards for? Nothing. Nothing new. Nothing has changed. The deck basically remains the same. I think I mean, with Bonfire being added in, if we weren't already playing this, that immediately got added in. Last time I did this, there was no Bonfire, so yeah, I literally just slotted this in. But I was also previously playing Where Art Thou, so now we don't have to do that. So instead we're playing Bonfire, which is a crazy card. I also previously wasn't playing the Kashtira cards. So yeah, I'm running double Unicorn, 1 Fenrir, and the 1 Birth as search target for the Fenrir, for the Unicorn. And the reason for this is because if you get really lucky and you draw Diabellstar or Wanted and Unicorn, you can go Unicorn, Diabellstar, special summon both, search out the Birth, special summon Dracosack. Dracosack get 2 tokens, link off the 2 tokens into IP Mask Arena by detaching the Unicorn. Bring back the Unicorn off of Birth, and then make Apo. And now you have a 3-mat Apo before doing anything else. So now you can send the Birth to the graveyard with the original Sin. I never did that, but this is a combo that is well established, and probably what should be being played now post Banlist, due to the fact that the Kashtira cards kind of give you a little bit more of an option of like a secondary thing to do, and kind of give you that additional bridge, right? But as you can tell, lots of hands traps still, and yeah, let's just go from there. Not much has changed. I'm playing 3 Veiler, 3 Maxi, 3 Imperm, and 3 Ash, as well as 2 Nib and 1 Droll. You might be wondering, why am I playing Droll? Why not Subversion? Droll is a cross-out target. Subversion kind of can be as well. But honestly, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Subversion. To me, it's just kind of a dead card most of the time. So there's that. But yeah, there you go. That's it for the hand traps. Lots and lots of them. We're obviously still playing the Jet Synchron. We're playing 2 Ash, 1 Oak, 2 Poplar, and that's it for the level 1s. We're then, of course, playing the 1 Fenrir, the 2 Unicorn. We're playing triple Diabellstar, double Wanted, because, of course, it's going to 2. I'm also still playing 2 Flomberg. This has been the card I've most wanted to cut down to 1 for Subversion instead. But there's a lot of lines where it's very useful to have the second one to help like play around to Nibiru and stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part, I don't know. This is definitely the most like egregious brick in the deck. Obviously, we're still playing the 3 Bonfire, 1 Original Sin, the 1 Divine Temple, 2 Called By, 1 Crossout, and that is it for the list. Pretty standard. Like, nothing too interesting here. However, my extra deck, I would say, is very different from everyone else's. And that's because I value my hand traps and actually getting cards into my hand. So you'll see that throughout the extra deck. So starting off, we have the Formula Synchron, Baron, and Borreload package for our Synchros. And yeah, again, as I said, that's also another reason why I'm playing Veiler. It gives me access to the Formula, which gives me access to kind of that full line, which is pretty nice. Or not the full line, but like gives me access to Formula Synchron, which can get Baron. So there you go. I'm also playing Dracosack, as I mentioned previously. It's a very interesting card. There are definitely cards I would want in here, maybe in different situations than Dracosack. Like, I'm not playing Selene, which I feel like a lot of SnowiKs players are like, no, you have to play Selene, you have to play Selene. It's really, really good. And to that I say, in theory, it's really good. I have never had it come up, mostly because I just never see Diabellstar when I actually get to do my combo. I just never do, right? Diabell Star normally gets interrupted in some capacity, and I only see it when it's like just the one, so I never really have the ability to go for the Selene line, so I feel like it's just better off, for me, personally, to not play Selene and to play something else. But Selene's still very good. I'm also not playing Anima, which I also don't like. Anima is really, really good, but I had to make concessions somewhere, and Anima was the cut. As for the rest of the cards, obviously we're playing Link Karibo. I'm playing Sunlight Wolf and Heat Soul, because they are very useful. Being able to draw cards is very, very nice. You can potentially pivot this into a Promethean Princess, you can pivot this into an Ambler Whale, you can pivot it into a whole bunch of different things. But more importantly, you can also just use it to draw too, which is, again, very useful. I've used it to literally draw into Max C, which wins me the game. So there you go. Yeah. Then we have, obviously, one Hita, we have one Dark, we have one IP Masquerena, we have the one Promethean Princess, we have an Ambler Whale, we have the Apollosa, we have the Axis Code Talker, and we have Zelantis. Now, Zelantis isn't as good right now, but I still feel like it's very, very useful for specifically, like, dealing with weird boards, and with how many Makonko players have been running around, I was like, no, I need to be playing this. I lost a game because I wasn't originally playing this, so, yeah, I threw it in, and I do not regret it in the slightest. So, there you go, there's the list. Let's hop into the duels and show you how this deck changed, quote-unquote. Alright, so here we are going first, and I drew Wanted and Diabell Star, but I also drew the Flomberg, which is why I'm like, maybe I cut it down to 1, and then I just draw it less I'm less likely to draw it. Anyway, we go for the Diabell Star here, we grab the original Sin. We also drew Crossout and Ash, which is really, really good for a turn 1 setup. So, we're going to grab the Poplar effect, we're going to grab up the Temple, we're going to activate the effect of the Temple, we're going to go and scale up that second Flomberg. This is where the second Flomberg is very useful. However, I could have just scaled, I could have just put it into the Spell and Trap card zone from the grave, so I didn't necessarily have to get it from the deck. And actually, that is a big mistake that I make here, is I'm not putting it from the grave, so I end up using Poplar to do that. Anyway, we grab Oak, we go Oak into the Ash, and then I grab Poplar here off of the Oak, just so that I can get the Flomberg into the grave, and I knew they had a Nibiru. Of course they had a Nibiru. I was, like, not respecting Nibiru, specifically because I knew I had Crossout, so it was like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. But, yeah, this line was, like, terrible into Nib. I definitely wouldn't have done this had I not had Crossout. Anyway, now I'm going to go for the Wanted here, and I draw Effect Veiler, which is really, really useful, because we're going to go IP Masquerena, and then I'm going to link those off into, or sync those off into Formula, which draws me Infip, which actually is very, very good here, and you'll see why in a second. But yeah, then I do link off the Formula Synchron after going into Promethean and into Flomberg, because instead of putting the IP Masquerena into the grave, or onto the field here, I'm going to put the Formula Synchron. And the reason for that is because I don't actually have a good target outside of Apollosa for the IP Masquerena. So if I don't have as many targets necessary to, like, go into the Apo effectively, I'm just like, nah, it's better to just make Baron here. Like, I feel like Baron here is just better. So yeah, I end up doing that. We go for this guy, and then they go to the main phase and super poly me, pitching Nibiru, okay. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't really change anything. They go for the Mud Dragon here, and I'm like, sure, that's fine. Luckily, we still have the Divine Temple to bring back this Flomberg, but we're gonna go Oak. They changed to Fire, and I'm like, oh, so this isn't Tier, because there's no world in which Tier Limit doesn't just stick with either Water or Dark, and so I don't know why, like, I get the idea behind going Fire, but going Fire here doesn't change anything. I don't target any of my own cards, so it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, out comes the Ash. Ash is gonna search up a card, and of course they had the second Nibiru. I was like, oh, of course. I mean, it's pretty obvious, you know, they pitch a Nibiru off of the super polymerization. They're gonna have the second one. They know I can summon multiple times. I'm like, that's fine. They put this in attack position, and I'm like, huh? That's, oh, okay. Anyway, Poplar's gonna put the Flomberg back into the back row. Nadir Servant, I'm like, what nonsense are you on? Oh, it's Makonko. Now, apparently they didn't have anything, but I could have also impermed, so had they, like, activated an equip card, unless it was specifically Arabesque, I just negate, they can't do anything, and then I win. Arabesque could have killed me, though. Anyway, there you go. Makanko. Hooray. Alright, so here we are going second, and yes, I drew Maxi. Ash. Happens. But my opponent is playing Dino, and I do want to show you this game because it is actually pretty interesting. It's not because of Snake Eye. We know what Snake Eye does. This is not a showcase of Snake Eye. This is a showcase of Dino here, right? Because Dino is really, really cool. They have some insanely powerful monsters. Its biggest downside is its consistency. If it can play the game, it's great, it's fantastic, even through Maxi, and you'll see that here. Because, honestly, it is very difficult to pick apart the board my opponent is about to make. Even with, like, 10 additional cards, I basically barely pick it apart. So, there you go. My opponent pops from deck. They're going to special summon here into the Oviraptor. The Oviraptor is going to grab up the Miscellaneousaurus. Then they are going to Exi into Dolka. And then my opponent will banish 2 for Ultimate Conductor Tamrano. Now, this may not look like it's all that threatening. It may not look like it's that big of a deal. But here's the thing. They have a Book of Eclipse and 2 Monster Negates. Now, if I had, like, Imperm, you'd think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But now I have a token, so I can't even Imperm the Dolka as well, which is another thing that, like, Dino does really, really well. So even through Maxi, this is a pretty sticky board and very difficult to deal with. Also, all non-Dinos are just sunk by 500, which is pretty interesting. Anyway, I did activate Maxi, so the game is pretty much over. But yeah, you're gonna see. I don't know if pitching Unicorn is necessarily the best option here. I should have probably still pitched, like, in Ash or something like that so that I could I don't know. That one was kind of a hard decision. If I could have gotten another card into the graveyard, it would have been nice. Getting Jet Synchron into the grave, getting Ash into the grave, both would have been great. But I was like, okay, this, like, forces a thing, so, you know, maybe we'll do this. Because now I get to go Birth, and I'm going to go Birth, bring back Unicorn, and my opponent is immediately going to flip that face down. And I was like, that's exactly what I wanted, was for that to happen. Now, I don't really have anything that I can get from my opponent here, but I do. Luckily, the token is a level 1, which is very, very funny. But that actually helps me out a lot, because now I can go into Link Karibo into Dark, which is very, very nice, because guess what? This material right here is a Dark, which means if they use their negate on the Jet Synchron here, I am able to still get the material necessary off of Dark to go into Promethean Princess and go from there. I pitch the incorrect card. I should have probably pitched Ash here. This is just a bad play for me. If I pitch Ash, I get it back with the Promethean Princess, and then I do the full Ash line, and I just, like, win the game from there. So that's a big mistake for me. But what if I didn't have the Ash here? I can still basically do the same thing. I walk over the Dolka, I activate the effect, and I bring back my Ash, my other Ash, not my Snake Eye Ash, and I go into Ambler Whale, and I just kind of pass the turn, because I have the cross out, the called by. I know for a fact what is in their hand, which is Miscellaneousaurus, and that does do full combo, except I have called by, so there's that. Cool. I activate the second Maxi, because of course I am just, you know, the better player. I'm going to go for the called by here. I believe they go for, like, something in response? No, they don't go for anything in response. I think they have a called by of their own or something like that. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Because, yeah, I go for the effect failure. They go for called by. Because, here's the thing. UCT clears my field, and I'm like, I just don't want you to do that. That seems not fun. So, I go for the Veiler here. They go for the called by. I go for the cross out. And, yeah, at this point, the game is over. The game is over. I have more than full combo in my hand. They can only walk over my Ambler Whale, which is not great, because I just bring back the Promethean Princess, which can then get me, again, more or less everything that I want, right? I actually don't have a good target, so I just bring back the Ambler, and yeah, again, this game is over. The nerfs didn't matter because Maxi, hooray. Alright, here we are, once again, going first, and yeah, I know, Maxi, I know. Look, it's fine. Anyway, we're going to go and start off with the Diabell Star. We're going to activate the effect of our thing. Not getting negated here is fantastic, and this is why you still have to run hand traps, because guess what? Snake Eye still exists. It's still there. You still have to deal with it. Hip hip hooray. I draw a card here, which is the wrong time to draw a card, because I could have drawn Flomberg, which would have been really annoying. But to be fair, even if I did activate the Divine Temple, I still had a chance of drawing Flomberg, but it's not that big a deal. Anyway, we go for the Link Karibo here. We go for the Poplar effect to put the Poplar back. I go and deal with the Poplar. My opponent goes for the Ash. I go for the Called By. Hip hip hooray. We love seeing this interaction. I love Called By. Called By is such a fun and interactive card. I'm so glad that there's, you know, the ability for you to just not ever be punished for anything that you're doing, and you can just disrespect your opponent because you have a card that says Called By. Yeah, it's makes me want to pull my hair out. It's so unbelievably frustrating. I go for a weird line here. So I instead of going for the standard like Amblo Whale pass with the IP Masquerena yada yada, I go for Heatzel. Why? Because I have 2 Imperm and a Maxi in my hand. I really don't need follow up because you know, follow up with this deck is always there, right? If my opponent does anything, we have Flomberg, right? We can draw more cards with Heatzel. It's not really that big of a deal. But I was like, yeah, I don't, like, I can go Flomberg into IP anyway with the Temple, and if they have Harpy's Feather Duster, they have Harpy's Feather Duster. There's nothing I can do about that. So, you know, Heatzel also does trigger the Promethean Princess, so, like, there's that, at the very least. But I drew into the 3rd Imperm, which is funny, and it's gonna come up. I fire the Maxi, my opponent doesn't have anything for it, and it's Tri-Brigade! Let's go! Based! Too bad they're about to get absolutely thoroughly clowned on because, well, I say clowned on. They're going to be demolished here because I drew 3 Imperm, which is, like, so good against Tri-Brigade. Anyway, yeah, out comes Sprin, you know, they summoned Carrot, which didn't do anything, but, you know, there it was. They go for the Sprint here. I negate with Imperm, they go for the starter, I go for IP Masquerena to go into the Apo. Again, I don't really have another target. Actually, this was when I was playing Unicorn, so I could have, like, Unicorned away a thing, but it doesn't really matter. They go for Gigantic, and I'm like, cool, that's just not happening, goodbye. They also summoned Red there, which was kind of interesting. I don't know why we wouldn't have just summoned Blue off of that. I genuinely couldn't tell you. But yeah, at that point, the game is over. Maxi actually didn't matter there. While, yes, they were under Maxi, and that could have made them play differently, I don't think it would have changed any outcome. I still do the exact same line, and they still die. So, smile. Alright, once again, going first. Pretty good hand. We drew the Called By again. I know so many people are like, Maxi, ban it. Maxi, the problem. Ban Maxi. You gotta get Maxi out of here. That's the issue. You know, Called By can stick around because of Maxi. No. I don't care. I'd rather play in a format where I just have to deal with Maxi than having to deal with this stupid card. I cannot explain how much I despise the design of Called By. It is the most ban-worthy card, I think, currently in Yu-Gi-Oh! And the fact that it's not banned bothers me immensely. It is so unfun in every capacity. Hand traps to me are what make Yu-Gi-Oh! Interesting, but the thing is, Called By stops so many hand traps, and it's not only hand traps. It stops combo starters. It stops combo extenders. It stops random graveyard effects. It's not fun. I don't like it. I just get it out of here. That's all. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So I'm going to start off here with the Ash. My opponent imperms it. I'm like, that's fine. We have the Diabell Star. We can kind of interact from here. We should be good. I'm going to, however, just immediately go with the Bonfire. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, you're going to Called By this. I'm like, no. I have Diabell Star. I don't need to Called By that. That's fine. I'm just going to send that to the graveyard, and we're going to go for the Diabell Star. And then I remembered, oh, right, Diabell Star, like, doesn't do anything here. That's okay. So I could have, like, summoned Oak here, or, oh, I do summon Oak here. So I go for the Oak here, and then we link off here for Link Karibo, and then I go for the, oh, right. I make Hita. Activate its effect, grab up the Ash, make the Promethean, and then I think I just end on Promethean Amblo Whale Pass, basically. Oh, I do send. And I do make Flomberg. I could not remember this. Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of weird, but it is technically... Okay, it's okay. It's not great, but it is something. It's called by its nib, it's Promethean. That's it. But we also get Diabell Star for full combo on the follow-up. And my opponent is going to set a whole bunch of cards. Now, this may seem like stun or something like that, but the fact that they showed me Zodiac Barrage tells me this is strike, strike, judgment, or judgment, judgment, strike, or something along those lines. It could be like Imperm or something else like that. But at this point, the game is basically over. If they activate anything like a strike or a judgment or whatever it may be, I'm just going to attack them with really large guys and then KO them. But yeah. Here we grab up the second Ash that we are playing and shuffle back the Oak. We're going to activate the Diabell Star. And yeah, so far, the reason I'm showing you all of these games is because the consistency is still there. Nothing has changed. We have, you know, we have 3 Diabell Star, we have 3 Bonfire. It doesn't really change the math, having that 1 less Wanted, having the 1 less Ash, and stuff like that. So, there you go. Those are my overall thoughts on it. Yes, it kind of changes things, and yes, it is more inconsistent, but it's not inconsistent enough. Like, it still just does its 1-card combos. Maybe you're more likely to play, like, the Rescue Ace stuff. I don't think the Rescue Ace stuff is better. I think it's still strong, but, like, I don't think it's better. But yeah, there you go. Hopefully you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.